right, fun environment. I was excited to see a lot of Duck fans in the stands today. I think that was really impressive by our fans to show up. It's always a benefit to go on the road and feel like at times you're playing in a home environment. I thought we played a more complete game today. We talked about playing a four-quarter game, not just in the middle. And we started off pretty fast on offense, had some success early on defense, and then we're able to finish the game off closer like we wanted to be able to play. This is a game we expected to do well in dominant fashion. I think, for the most part, we did that. That being said, a lot of things you walk away with that we can clean up. We've continued to have some issues with pre-snap penalties. At times, got to do a better job on third down defensively. But our guys played, and they're hungry to get better. And we're about to hit a stretch of some really tough games here coming up. So excited to see us hit the ground running for improvement as soon as we get back to Eugene.
We'll start with Matt in the back.
What do you think of just the elements of the wind, and how much did that factor into play calls and game design for you guys?
I think that's the windiest game I've ever coached in. I can't think of a situation where I've been in a game where it's been that windy, and it's different. You're literally talking about, okay, do we feel like we can throw the ball right now because of the wind? And what was unique is how the wind continued to change. It would feel like it's blowing one direction 1 minute and then the complete opposite direction the next. Certainly a different situation than we're used to, but I thought our guys handled it well. I thought our kicking game, was actually pretty solid considering we were able to kick a lot of the kickoffs out of the end zone regardless of what direction we were kicking.
Front middle there.
Passing game can sometimes be impacted by the wind, but Bo was almost perfect through the air. What can you say just about how he performed in all facets too, out of the end zone 3 different ways?
Yeah, Bo did what we expect him to do. He has set a standard for himself now, and now if he doesn't operate at that standard, then there's an expectation, and I think he has higher expectations for himself than anybody else. Really proud of his performance, really proud. I think Bo would be the first one to tell you that performance is credit to an offensive line, that performance is credit to a pass from Bucky, that performance is credit to his coaching staff, and that's what makes Bo good, but pleased with the way he handled things today.
James, front right.
For him to have the rare feat of passing, rushing, and catching in the same game, and that didn't happen very often. And what is it about him that allows you to be that versatile with him? You've lied him on the ground plenty of times before, but also catching a touchdown, and caught a pass earlier this season.
Yeah, all the things you guys have seen all season, right? He continues to do what we expect. Big fan of our quarterback right now. He's playing really well. You guys will have to tell me when the last time that was done where a guy caught. You have looked it up yet?
A year ago.
A year ago? Well, that wasn't very long. All right, so we got to work on that. Next time we got him to catch 2 maybe.
Right here, front left.
Monica Costello, AP. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Today you seem to pull out all the stops in all kinds of trick plays and execute at perfection. Any particular reason why today?
I just think, when you're a team that's complete and you're hard to predict, it's harder to really prepare for you, right? And some people talk about, well, you could have saved this, saved that. For us, they're not really trick plays when you execute them consistently in practice. That being said, we want to come out here and score, and the standard doesn't change regardless of who you play.
Back left, Hayden, behind the camera.
Seeing Christian come back to his old school and then the performance he did, could you sense maybe this is going to be a special day for him?
Yeah, every time you talk to Christian going into this week, I know you guys experienced it as well, he just said it's just a normal game. It's just a normal game, but let's be honest, this wasn't a normal game for Christian, right? He had an expectation for how he wanted to perform. I'll have to go back and watch the film and see how he did. Obviously, he had 2 exceptional plays.
Here in the second row on the left.
Tyler King, Denver Gazette. Just curious, you mentioned kind of the trick plays, although you're not calling them trick plays, you're executing that way. What are the conversations like with Kenny in the pregame leading up to a game like this, and kind of pulling those out? And what can you say about his play calling today and his performance?
Yeah, I think our offensive, Kenny will be the first to tell you, our whole offensive staff has really been in sync, and our offensive play calling has been in sync, and we do a good job setting up plays. You guys saw some plays that got ran today. There was also several plays that got called, and then we got checked out of. Why? Because our quarterback's able to control the game like that. So, again, I understand how you guys might see those plays as different plays, but those are some of the same plays we've called all year, and then our quarterbacks decided it was there or wasn't there based on the look we got.
Back on the right, Matt.
Alex didn't play in the second half. Is there anything to that, and just what's his status?
We've got guys that are able to play, that deserve the opportunity to go out there and they perform well in practice. Want to give them an opportunity. Alex has played a lot of football for us, but he was in a position where we could put some other guys in the game and get them some game experience.
Yeah.
Front middle air.
What did you make of your defensive coverage overall? Obviously the deep one, but also some third down issues maybe.
Yeah, complete coverage bust on the deep one. We have a guy that's not even playing the half, in the half field. So that was certainly disappointing. Got to do a better job on third down. A couple of the calls that we have are designed to take certain plays that actually they threw. So it shouldn't be there. We got to coach it better. Look for us to perform better in that scenario, and we'll grow from it.
Front middle, James.
You guys have run some of these unusual plays, and is there times like it not even surprise you in that You go to Connerly and you make a jersey change, which should kind of tip off the defense, and he still ends up open. Is there
On his
things-
birthday.
Yeah.
How about that?
Are there things that you're managing to accomplish that even surprise you that this seems to be working with this level of consistency?
No, I mean, that play was a check. So Bo checked us into that play if we got a certain look, right? So you want to credit, again, you got to talk about the performance of our quarterback. It's built in. We had another play called. If we got a certain look, we're able to check to that play. So we'll go back to, again, the preparation from our offensive staff and our players, and Josh being prepared for his moment, and just so happens to be his birthday. So pretty cool.
Front right, Jared.
What did you see from Keon Ware-Hudson today, and then the rest of the defensive line without DJ Johnson?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the film. You know, I thought we had some really positive moments from all those guys up front. Also think there's certainly some moments of growth for us there. So the standard for us, performance, we don't care really who we're playing or what the situation is. So excited to watch the film and see where we're at.
Front middle, Eric.
How long has Noah been begging to carry it on offense?
Never asked.
Really?
Never asked once, but he was certainly excited when we put it in. So we watch explosive plays every single week of really every team in the nation, and we pull some, and you know, that triple option type look, we felt like that'd be something we could build off of, and he was a good fit for that.
Back right, Matt.
You brought up, Dan, the big stretch coming forward. It starts with UW on Saturday and people outside the program. That's a heated rivalry. Just your thoughts on these two teams and playing Washington for the first time.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, obviously this is a game that our fans are passionate about. I'm certainly understand the expectation for our team, and so do our players. So we want to go out here and execute at a high level. They're playing really well. They had a tough win last night in a unique environment. So we got to go out there and play well when we get out there on the field, and I promise our guys will be ready.
Front right, James.
When your interior defensive line was called out earlier this week, and I'm sure took that to heart, your thoughts on how they played? 120 yards rushing, but 3.3 per carry as a whole, not the only stat, you know, not a ton of TFLs, but how do you think those guys did?
I'll have to go watch. You know, I thought we got moved off the ball at times, but I think overall we controlled the game for the most part.
Right here on the left.
Hey, yeah, Dan, Craig Meyer with Rivals.com. What, you know, we had talked about Christian Gonzalez earlier and the meaning of this game. How much, if at all, does his familiarity with Colorado and with Stroud, how much, if at all, do you think that possibly helped him on those picks and on those plays?
I think he's a guy that plays with heightened awareness. I think they showed some formations that they'd shown earlier in the year, and we had an idea that might be the routes that we were going to get. You know, he did a good job on the last interception of falling off on a route that we kind of expected to see. You know, I don't know if it was necessarily familiarity with them more so than just a new offensive coordinator, a new system, but a good job of film study on his part.
Right here, Monica, right?
Coach, another game scoring way over 40 points. How important is that? And then how important is it to win the team you're supposed to beat?
Yeah, important. You know, more points you score, the better chance you got of winning. You want to score more than the other team, so that's always our goal.
You ever say, oh, look, another 40, let's
Oh,
get
we don't
40.
care about stats, right? Stats are for losers. We want to win the game, right? I mean, I'm sure our players take pride in it. I don't want that to come across the wrong way. Like, the goal is win. The goal is always win. The goal is meet the expectation of for us, right? What's our expectation of performance? Sometimes that equates to a lot of points. Sometimes that equates to a 15-play drive, right? But it's an expectation for performance. That's the goal.
Eric, did you have one?
I did.
Eric?
Just 4 different guys have punted in games now. Would you think Alex, and the first one wasn't great? It seemed like the second one was better.
What do you think?
The first one wasn't great.
Yeah, I agree. It's
James?
chopping.
I think you even referenced in the summer at one of the alumni club deals about how you have a pretty firm understanding from folks about this upcoming game and this rivalry. It's your first installment, and it's the first installment for Coach DeBoer as well. Do you intend, what is the next 24 hours in terms of setting the tone for this week under you in this era? What will that look like?
That preparation's really already started. You know, before we even get into that next week, we've kind of taken our time even throughout the bye week and said, okay, what do we really want this week to look like as we enter this last stretch of the season? You don't make it a different game than it is, but at the same time, there's an expectation. This is an important game for us, and we want to go win the game. But you do that with work. So we're going to go work. That's what we're going to do. Do you change your routine? Not necessarily. You know, you'll do some things potentially different, but you don't change what got you here too.
Second row on the left, Tyler, right?
Yes.
Tyler?
You mentioned the preparation of the offensive staff. How fun for you is it to see, you mentioned them watching other teams and kind of building off that to get creative yourself. How fun is that for you to see that in preparation during the week?
Yeah, I think it's always that unique piece of having an identity, right? And there's some plays that you'll see us carry every single week, and then being able to build off of that identity with some wrinkles that might work for you. And everything in football is stolen, right? It's no different for defense, offense, special teams, football. You see it somewhere else. You say, okay, that's something we can have success with. And I think what our offensive staff's done a good job of is continuing to play with an identity of physicality, whether it's running duo or inside zone or counter, right? Being able to throw the ball down the field, but then build off of it with a wrinkle where you get to throw the quarterback a touchdown.
Right here on the right, last question, Matt.
Do you believe in rivalries? Do you approach that?
Like, did they exist?
Yeah. Well, like
I think so.
some coaches previously here at Oregon have said every game is the most important game that week, and they don't look at rivalries. And it's
got
not
you.
a thing. Is that a thing for you, or do you
I don't know
make
if
it
I've ever
bigger?
put that much thought into it. I think it's pretty apparent that this is a rivalry game coming up, so I guess we could pretend like it's not, but it matters. Does that mean we prepare different? Do we treat it like a different situation? No. If you go out here and play the circumstance, right, in the event rather than the game, you're not going to be able to play to your ability. So, but do I acknowledge there's a rivalry coming up? Absolutely. Do we have a plan of preparation and a way that we want to execute? Absolutely. And I have a lot of respect for that team that we're about to play. They're playing really good football right now.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you, Coach.